Oh. When I was young, excuse me, when I was young and in my prime, I left my home in Caroline. Now all I do is sit and pine for all the folks I left behind. Now, stop it, don't be silly. That's John Fogerty, that's not me. I haven't got the Blue Ridge Mountain Blues, but maybe I could write one about England, like they write about all those romantic places in America. I mean, it always does sound so romantic in America, doesn't it? And, you know, if you're talking about places around England, it doesn't sound so romantic. But, when I was young and not so seer, I left my home in Worcestershire. Now all I do is shed a tear into my pint of Banks's beer. I'll give it some thought anyway. But what I was about to say is that when I was young, there were a lot more gents urinals about than there seem to be now. And I remember too, in particular in Stourbridge, the one was at the end of Hagley Road, under the pavement alongside the library, and you went down the steps into the Stygian gloom below, and there were those sort of glass blocks in the ceiling once you were down there. They came through onto the pavement, and they would admit some light, but you couldn't see through them, but they did allow a small amount of illumination to be down there. The other one I remember well was in Brook Road by the Seven Stars, hard by the railway bridge which took the branch line from the junction down to the town, and I often called in there on my way to my granny's house in Grange Lane. But why am I on about urinals? Well, there always used to be a sign in the urinals along the lines of, "Gentlemen, please adjust your dress before leaving." What is one to make of that? Who do they think I am? Eddie Izzard. Eventually I cracked the code there, and obviously it means please do up your fly before entering the outside world. But they weren't allowed to be as explicit as that, I suppose, in those times. And so it was, "Gentlemen, please adjust your dress." And one hopes that one would see the sign before one closed one's fly, because if you saw it afterwards, you presumably have to open your fly again by way of adjustment. But I don't know. Anyway, that's what it says. I remember a scene from The Ginger Man by J.P. Donlevy, which I probably had from the aforementioned library. And the protagonist, Sebastian, is travelling on a tram or a train or something, and he has a parcel with a leg of lamb in, or something he had got from the butcher's, and he forgets it and has to be reminded about it. And also it appears that he has recently been to a urinal as well and has not observed the sign, so he needs to be reminded about that as well. And one of his fellow passengers remarks, "It seems like you can't remember your meat at all today." I always thought that was amusing. But anyway, I wrote a poem about the sign, as it may be that it is no longer seen today. I can't recall seeing it in urinals now. They must assume that we all adjust our dress without being asked now, whereas that was not the case in the mid-20th century, perhaps. But anyway, the poem goes like this. There was a young man from Skegness who gave rise to alarm and distress by emerging to view from the town's public loo, having failed in adjusting his dress. And that's how the poem goes. The end. I can't see where you turn this off. Oh, there it is.